like for all this work we've been putting in on Instagram and Facebook, like reaching out to people, that somebody reaches back that is pretty big. I mean, he's got like 40,000 followers on Instagram. He's had like 13 million views on his YouTube videos and stuff like that. And he lives in Wisconsin, and now he also lives in LA too, but he's traveling around doing his tour in Wisconsin right now. But it was really rewarding to see that he wanted to do that. So he's like, hey, like, I'm tight on time right now, but I think the best thing that's going to work for me is if you guys come to me and we record your podcast kind of right before one of my shows. So we're going to be like on the set of.
And I think I've been pleasantly surprised on the the amount of response that we've gotten back.
Well, we talked to Colin and Samir too.
Yeah.
They work with Yes Theory. For people who don't know who Yes Theory is, or Colin and Samir for that matter. Yes Theory has like 13 million subscribers on YouTube, and they make crazy videos. Cool, and Colin and Samir are up and coming. They have like 50,000. But I say like only 50,000, but that's a ton. But they reached back and said like, hey, yeah, one day, we want to be on the podcast and try different things because we don't know. We don't want to limit ourselves. So that's one thing. Yeah, we don't limit ourselves with this podcast either. Everyone's like, what do you guys do? Well, we really talk about like anything because we don't want to limit ourselves and limit what we can talk about and create.
People that have lived like in the medieval times would look at things that we find scary today and they'd laugh. And that's
like you need to look at it from like a bigger picture. I think we all are too like narrow. We're too close up on the painting. I watched something on Facebook popped up, and it was on Inky Johnson. You know who Inky Johnson is. I love Inky Johnson. And he talked about he was giving an inspirational speech to a group of people, and he was giving a demonstration. And he was like sitting in front of a painting like this close, right? Mm-hmm. And he was saying that this guy was asking him like, hey, what does my painting look like? And the guy's like, well, you missed this mark here. Then you move over, and he said, you missed this mark here. But then Inky was standing in the back of the room. He's like, no, come back here and look at it from afar. And he goes,
it's a masterpiece.
He said, all those things that you were pointing out, those imperfections, do you still see those now? And he goes, no, not really, because he was looking at it from a bigger perspective. He was looking at the big picture instead of the little imperfections. And I think that we need to look at the big picture in our life. Yeah. Like I'm guilty of it. I look at all my imperfections, and people look at all their imperfections, but they need to take a step back and like look at it. Look at the bigger picture.
And it's almost like, okay, if life was perfect, like if everything that you ever wanted to happen happened and everything came super easy, what would the point of life be? Like if we didn't have fear, what would the point of life be? To be completely honest, then there just wouldn't be any challenge. There wouldn't be any struggle. There wouldn't be any journey. There wouldn't be anything. And, like all the successful people that we see now have gone through failure. Like Michael Jordan got a lot. Michael Jordan got cut from his high school basketball team as a sophomore.
That's crazy.
Like, I know it's cliche. You probably heard that before, but think about that. Like sophomore year of high school, he got cut.
And he's literally known as the GOAT.
Yeah.
One of the best basketball players. For all those people out there that debate LeBron, Michael, it doesn't matter. Like he's literally one of those. He's in that conversation, so he's a good player. He did a lot of good things, and he literally got cut. That we don't want to be, scripting too much stuff because it's like we want it to be organic and authentic. Where we're just literally sitting here having a conversation because that's what we've kind of noticed. That's really kind of what drove the idea of starting a podcast because we were talking to different people and we were having really good conversations with those people, and I'm like, man, like.
Other people would get value from this.
Not only do I want to remember these conversations and be able to listen to them again, like I think other people should have the ability to listen to this because they choose to, but it's like I think it's something important. I think that people could find a ton of value in it, and we've gotten really good feedback from this podcast. We had the depression and anxiety video or podcast smashed it. I mean, we had like 140 likes on it, and everything else has kind of been, okay, but like that one was really big, and that was something talking about those imperfections that you had and those things that you overcome.
And so many people can resonate with that, and they see that I'm vulnerable, so they're like, oh, like that maybe give me permission to, feel a little bit better about my situation.
Sometimes even when momentum starts too fast, we kind of pull back and we
I think
stop.
That happened with us, to be completely honest. I think there was a week in there where we posted like every day because we were almost like we were so excited about doing this. So we kind of created a
there was a day when we posted all 7 days.
Yeah.
Like some kind of random piece of content. I think this week it was like I think we did I'm trying to think. I think it was like 2 or 3. I think it was 3 pieces of content, not including Sunday's podcast. You learn by doing.
Exactly.
And you learn by failing. And so, I don't know.
I think it's good that it happened, though.
Yeah.
But Lastly, I kind of want to just touch on our vision for the future.
Let's do it.
What do you think?
Well,
I think we're on the same page.
Here's the cool thing, because we're sitting in a class and we have to go over these elevator speeches, like these pitches, and we're writing them up. And it's like, what would I say to somebody if I hopped in an elevator and I look to my left and I'm like, holy cow, there's Gary Vee. Holy cow, there's Tony Robbins standing there. Holy cow, there's Charlie Barron standing there. Like,
yeah, you got 30 seconds.
What am I saying? I'm going, hey, my colleague and I, we've started a brand, and it's called The New Perspective. And the whole idea behind it is we all have these different and skewed and narrowed perspectives in life. And I think that we don't all know what's out there for us. And I think that we all need to be aware of that. So we want to take us some time to have you on our podcast so that you can share what you've been through and what you've seen to kind of give your perspective so that other people can learn by the failure and learn from the successes. But the most important thing is your success you'll find attributed to it a lot of failure. A lot of failure before you reach that level of success.
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty similar. I'm more of like a worldly. I feel like I'm viewing it more of towards a, like a cultural, religion, just lifestyle around the world. Just because I think getting a perspective from somebody who lives in Saudi Arabia, somebody who lives in Australia, somebody who lives in Dubai, and somebody who lives in Boston. Just like those different lifestyles and those mindsets, like that'll show. I just think bringing that to other people and showing them how they live and how they think and why they do what they do, I think that'll create such a more connectedness, I guess.
Yeah.
Because we're all over online and like we're connected that way, but it's not deep. Like we don't actually see the lifestyle in the day to day and the struggles and stuff like that. And I think being able to do that, it would solve a lot of conflict that goes on in our world today. And I think it's something that could be super important and could be huge. And that's why, I'm excited about it.
I think that I'm excited for the future because I have no idea what it holds. That's what makes me most excited most people will be like, well, I'm really excited because I know after graduation that I'm going to get this really good job.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking like, dude, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Like, I don't know. I literally have no idea. Like, I know I have my buddy's party bus and stuff like that, but like something random could happen that's enormous in my life and that changes the course of my life. But I don't know it right now. I think that's what's most exciting about being on this earth, being a human being. I could be a freaking plant. I could have been born a plant. I could have been born a tree. I'm a human though. 400 trillion to 1.
You know what's also weird is
400 trillion to 1.
Yeah. It's funny because like we know as much about what life is all about as anyone who has ever lived.
They have life figured out. They're lying to you.
Well,
nobody has it figured out.
Yeah. What is this? Like,
nobody knows. Nobody knows. You could be the best financial advisor, the best basketball player, and they have that figured out. But they may not have their emotional intelligence figured out, or maybe their financials figured out, or maybe their relationships figured out.
Yeah.
We don't all have everything figured out. We might have aspects of life figured out, not everything. The second someone tells you that they do, they are lying.
Yeah.
It's impossible.